And since Zeno already interjected and said that Ole Miss is suspect, I got to hear his reasoning why. I thought this line got a little too high. I think Chris Beard actually has the coaching advantage here. I know that Ole Miss struggles to get offensive and defensive rebounds. They are really frustrating, but they don't beat themselves by turning the ball over. And I can't say the same about Iowa State. Every time I lay the points with Iowa State, you know what they do? They turn the ball over 15 plus times a game. It is the most infuriating team to be laying it with. Again, as an underdog, don't mind backing the Cyclones, but I cannot lay 5.5 here with Iowa State. Zeno, tell me why you think Ole Miss is suspect.
I don't think they do well against better competition. I mean, if you look at them in the SEC this year, okay, like let's just take, for example, certain spots that they played in. Alabama, when they beat Alabama earlier in the year, okay, that was a spot where Alabama, I think, they were 14-2 at the time, and they dropped a home game. This was after they had a big two road wins against Texas A&M. It was sort of a situational spot, like that. I think that's their best win of the year was against Alabama. I don't really count beating Kentucky, whose defense, as we talked about, is terrible. And look at the Tennessee win at the end of the year. Tennessee had everything wrapped up that they needed to wrap up at that point in time. It was the second last game of the regular season. Didn't really matter to them. But every time they step up in class, they got beaten by Florida. They got beaten by Auburn. They got beaten by A&M. I mean, I don't see them as a really competent team. I think they're fugazi. I don't trust them to go out and beat better teams on the regular. Look, I played UNC against them. I thought UNC was going to beat them. I had Ole Miss losing in the first round, whether it was at San Diego State or UNC. So, this is a really complete and competent Iowa State team. I like them a lot. I know they're missing one of their guards who's not in. They've been dealing with that for a better part of the second half of the season. So I'm not too concerned from the standpoint, like they still managed to win games. They still managed to be very, very competent with the injuries to the backcourt. And I think they can do it here. And more than anything, it's the Iowa State defense. Like, they're going to clamp down. As you talked about, Kelly, Mississippi can't grab rebounds. So, if you're going to give me a team with the height advantage by, about 2 inches, and then you're going to give me a huge rebounding advantage, Mississippi has to make every shot. Like, you're asking them to have to shoot 45% or better from the field. If they don't, every one of those shots that misses goes in the hands of Iowa State. And that's a bad recipe. Even without their best guard, that's a bad recipe because Iowa State will be able to get up and down and put some easy buckets in against a defense that I don't think is all that good.